Let's take a look at the process of creating a secondary zone of a primary zone. So first of all, let's take a look at DNS and see what we've got set up. Admin Tools DNS. And in our DNS server here, we've got Event Viewer, which is nice for the DNS events, forward lookup zones, and reverse lookup zones. Now, at forward lookup zones, we've got 3 zones defined here. Now, the first 2 zones we're getting from other servers through replications. We're going to ignore those for the time being. And I've created a brand new zone, brand new forward lookup zone called xyz.com. The idea is that if there's a host in xyz.com, that host would have its records in the xyz.com zone database. Well, right now, for xyz.com, this server has the primary copy of that information. So what if we want a secondary copy of that information on some other DNS server? Well, first of all, we need to be working with a second DNS server then. So what you can do is right-click the DNS snap-in and choose to connect to another DNS server. We've got another computer set up called Computer 1 with DNS already installed. And on Computer 1, we're also going to have a variety of forward lookup zones. Now, what you'll notice then is on our original server here, we have xyz.com. On the second server, Computer 1, we do not have xyz.com. So there is not a copy of that information on Computer 1. So the point here is that we've got a primary here on the serve SRv3, and we want to put a secondary copy of that information on Computer 1. Well, to do that, you would right-click Forward Lookup Zones on the soon-to-be secondary server for that zone, choose New Zone, and go through the wizard and say you want to create a secondary. This Computer 1 server will be a secondary for xyz.com. And it says, where is it getting its copy of the information? Where is the primary? Or where is the master DNS server? So the master DNS server is the computer that I'm situated at. So 192.168.1.220. Okay, so now we have a secondary zone for xyz.com on our second server. However, we have an error message here saying that the zone has not been loaded. You can right-click the zone and choose to transfer from master or to reload from master even. That would be reload it from scratch. But this is not going to work in this case. You can refresh all you want, but we're just not getting a copy of that information from our first server where we have xyz.com, where we have the primary copy of that information. The reason being, what we're trying to do here is a zone transfer. We're trying to do a zone transfer between the primary and the secondary copy of that information. Now, if we look at the properties on the primary copy of the zone, we have the Zone Transfers tab. Zone Transfers tab used to be allow zone transfers to any server, which is not secure because HackerX could bring in a laptop and ask for a zone transfer. So now the default is that zone transfers are only allowed to servers listed on the Name Servers tab. So looking at the Name Servers tab, we'll find only the original server with the one primary copy. So what we'll need to do is add Computer 1 into the Name Servers tab. And you click OK, and then there is Computer 1 Weston Private with the corresponding IP address, and finally, there it is on the right-hand side. So we now have an NS record for that second DNS server. And now we'll find when we go back to that second server up top here and right-click and say Transfer from Master, all of a sudden now we can get a zone transfer, and we do have all 3 records now. Now also with zone transfer, it doesn't happen right away. So if on the primary copy of the zone, we add a new record, let's say a new host record, or some bogus computer. This is just a bogus record. We'll just say 1.1.1.1, add the host in. And what we've done is create a host record for bogus in the xyz.com domain. So if some client were asking for the computer name bogus, that would get resolved to 1.1.1.1. Well, there's our primary copy, but the secondary copy does not have that record. So what you can do is wait for the predetermined interval of time, or you can force a transfer by right-clicking and saying Transfer from Master. And there we go. We forced a transfer. That 4th record is now in there. The other way to force a zone transfer is on the primary. So on the primary copy, you choose Properties. And on the Start of Authority tab, the SOA tab, you can increment the serial number, which will cause a transfer to happen. Or the refresh interval is 15 minutes. You can wait 15 minutes for the secondary to pull the primary. Another option, the Zone Transfers tab, you can go to Notify and tell the primary to notify secondary servers of any changes made to the primary copy of the zone.